Hey everybody, welcome to another video where I'm doing what I call a retro CSS battle. These are daily targets from the past. This is December 25th, and a gingerbread man, December 26th, a snowman, and December 27th of 2023. I will attempt to do the CSS and HTML to make this work. Okay, and this is definitely a fun one. A complicated one in a lot of ways. It looks like they're individual elements, but you'll notice that the little red circles, they are overlapping in kind of interesting ways here. So if this is an element that's rotated, if it's like a pill, then things have to look through, and that's complicated. All right, so the only way to do the thing is to do the thing step by step. So let's do the thing step by step. All right. There are multiple hard things. One of the dictums that, one of the aphorisms I try to live by on this is do the hard thing first. There are several hard things here, but let's start with the kind of the pill lozenge and then figure out what we need to do to make it work. So let's set margins 100. 150, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110. Okay, so that's pretty good. Now, we're going to run into problems. No, we'll just go with it. We'll just go with it. Okay, so what's the height of this guy? This height is like 40, 50, 60. Okay. And then border radius, is that 30 pixels? All right, so that's the start. Now, you'll notice that this orange little button is in the middle. So let's put in the orange button. And then we're going to come up with whatever we need to come up with to make it work. So radial gradient, circle, orange, and then some size, 10 pixels, and then the rest is red, right? And that gets you that, but what about this other part? So if I change the height, 100% width, and then 100 or 40 pixels height, then I can get a repeat, right? But then it's not centered, so then that means I need to move it down 10 pixels. Oh, and did that work? No, it didn't work. We're missing. Now we're missing it. So because we moved down 5. So what do I move down 5? So that's the idea. So we only need 2 repeats, or we need a repeat that's lower. So to do that, let's make the height of this, I'm going to set background color to be 0, to be transparent, and then set black. Okay. And then I'm going to say no. I'm actually going to say no repeat. No repeat. So what's it look like? Okay, and I'm going to set that to be black. Okay, so this is the background that we just made. I'm going to put it at 0, 0, so the top. If I do an at 50%, 10 pixels, 20, 30, I get it at the bottom. And then if I let it repeat, it's too low. I don't get it. So that means I need to move it down to begin with, I think. Yeah. So then it needs to be. All right. So this is a background. How do I do this? 10, and then move it down. Okay. So okay. So if it's repeating from the top. Ugh. Okay. How about 20. So, I'll need to cover it anyway, right? But that's the idea, and it's only half of that circle. So was this even worthwhile is the question. So for now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to negate this entirely and negate this. And so I just do the middle one and then do this red and then go on to the next step. Because each part of this puzzle is a little bit different, right? All right, let's do the arms. And alternately, can we do a shape that is that Y? All right, so second P, and let's put an attribute on here so that we can identify it very specifically. We do B, and then we do, I guess I have to do a background that's just red, I think, just the dark red. And then I need to rotate 45 degrees, right? And then I need to move it. So transform, minus 100 pixels, 50 pixels or something. And that's a translate. Translate, and that is not working. That is not working. Why isn't that working? Translate, transform, translate. Oh, I need a comma, don't I? Yes, I do. Gotta remember the syntax too. Okay. So let's do the rotate as part of the transform. That way we have better control. The transforms are applied in order. So if I do so I'm trying to use exactly the same shape, and we got to see whether that's going to work. 4, 3. How about minus? And then minus. So that's too high. How about minus 4? 45. Ah, 0. 0 is almost correct. So how about 40? What's the deal with 44? 45, 46. 46. Oh, not bad. But you'll notice it totally ruins other things we got going on. Now we can fix that with a linear gradient. So that it doesn't cover the whole thing. 90 degrees. Let's do a ridiculous color like pink. Set a color stop and do 20%. And that is covering up what we got there. The little orange guys we can do with more elements in the future. We would like to do it with backgrounds, but let's see what happens if we do this. So we do 30, 40. Okay. And let's make that transparent. Like that. Now that might work, but it also, we notice that we got the trouble with the orange dots. So can we just do it at an angle and do very precisely what that color is? How about we do 45 or minus 45 or 135. So 135 and then what, 50? 30, 40, 50, 60. There it is. Okay, so 55. 4, 3, 2, 1, 50. So in principle, we can use the same technique. Now, we still have orange dots to deal with. So complicated shape, this. All right, let's make another one. Make another paragraph tag and see what we get. There it is. All right, so for C, I feel like I definitely want to do the same technique. And this time we're going to do minus. And then vertically, we need to transform that. Ooh, interesting. So that's actually the x-axis what we want. So we want to go up 1, 10, 20, 120, something like that. How about 119, 21, 22. Ooh, not bad. So in this one, can we use the same gradient, just at minus? Yes, the answer is yes. So that's pretty crazy. If I put another color back here, you can see what's going on. So that's really what that background is, which is pretty bonkers. Okay. Okay. So that's that. We still have the problem of this. And if I do what? Will that circle fit entirely within that element? No, it won't. Maybe it will actually. So let's just copy this guy. Does that get it? And then transparent. Hey, there it is. Look at that. So that's a really great thing. So how do we optimize this? Well, we're not going to optimize it, but this is the same as that. So we're going to say, well, let's just copy it into a variable. We'll call that B for button. Is that variable? Is that gradient? And then we do var dash dash G. And then we plop that in. And everything is now exploded. Great. How? Why? What did we do wrong? Var G background. I've got some bad syntax here. Oh, because I called it B for button, not G for gradient. Because I don't know if I need more variables. B. There it is. Okay, and then this background on the default element is not working either. Oh, because we need to do default color like that. Okay. Great. Okay. Lastly, I think on the body we want to do this, the head on the body. Radial gradient. Circle. And that's red. And then this is the dark green, deep green. I think that's a deep green. There it is. And let's do an at 50%, 20%. And what is it? 10%, 0. Oh. Well, that's close. Love that. How about 20 pixels? What do we see if we do that? 3, 4, 40 pixels. And that looks a little bit better. Okay, so what do we need to do next? How about the old eyeballs? And And I think that we need another radial gradient, which maybe we can repeat. Circle at 20, yeah, 20, no, let's just do circle. And that's a small circle, 10 pixels. It's probably the same as the button, 10 pixels, and then transparent. Now, there it is. It's in a very odd spot. I don't know why it's in a very odd spot, because I guess the body went higher. So let's do at, and at 50%, 10 pixels, 20 pixels, 50, 100, and now it's like a nose, 8, 9. Now let's do and then that's on 100. So fun. If we make this narrower, then we can make it repeat. 10, there's at 10 pixels, 20, 30. And is that in the right spot? And we definitely need a background color then after that, don't we? And, oh, and we're missing, there we go, comma. There we go. So how do we get that there? Circle at, oh, so weirdly close. Oh, so that's at 50%, and then 20. Oh, no, not that number. 35. And then 10 pixels. So I'm adjusting the background position. The at, circle at 90%. How about 80 pixels? How about 85 pixels? 6, 7, 8. There, good. And then move this offset 20, 21, 22. That gives me one eyeball, but not both. So it's got to be narrow. How about 30? How about 20? And then adjust again our position. Oh, and look what happens. That puts that eyeball, it clips the other part of the circle, and that's no good. Can't have that. Unless we did yet another circle with just the inner part. So this circle, this 10 pixel circle, we need to make that another variable, I think. So let's say E for eyeball, and then do bar E, comma. And at the present, we can't see it because it's right in the middle of the screen. So if we put it upward, what, minus, so 50% minus 100 pixels, yeah, we'll start to see it. 2, 1, 3, 4. So is it now a unicorn, or I'm not sure what it is. 80 pixels. Let's try that. 10, 15, 38. Okay. And then the other eyeball will be minus 15. All right. That's all the pieces. Now let's submit it and see if we get 100% match. That's a lot of moving parts. Very complicated puzzle from Christmas of 2023. Oh, and we're 99.9%, so we have an error. What is the error? Could it be this number? Let's try that. There, 100% match. All right, a lot of moving parts there, particularly like this business. So you can see that background. And then you can see this background too. So complicated shape, fun shape, great CSS illustration, really. And that's what that code looks like. As painful and weird as that code is, that is some kooky code. And this is a higher score than I've gotten in the past. I forget exactly how I've done. I think I did it with multiple gradients and conic gradients to get these, these angular 45-degree shapes. But this was definitely a very satisfying way to do it as well. So, element to do the arms, another paragraph tag to do one leg, and another paragraph tag to do the other leg, and that's a great solution to that. All right, what's next? More circles indeed. All right, how do we do this? So again, a case of there's no I definitely feel like maybe we can cannibalize those eyeballs, but let's not do that yet. The oddball is maybe the is that a scarf? Maybe that's a scarf. Anyway, okay. How about we go also element heavy? We'll do element heavy. We'll do, so give this a margin of 0 auto, and then give it a width. And make the background white. And then the body has a background as well. And so right now we've got one element, and these are all squares, right? So that's aspect ratio 1. All right, let's use margins 4, 5, okay. And then that explicit height is not working, so let's do widths to do that, and then we'll do border radius 50% to make them into circles. So let's make it wider. 50, 60, 70, 80. Perfect. Love it. Now, this approach does mean we're gonna have to do something special with this, with the well, I'm not sure if that means that, actually. I'm not quite sure that means that. Let's do another part of the snowman. We're building a snowman. The second one, if I set a width of, so it's wider, so it's 80 here. How about 120? If I put an attribute here, then we don't want to affect all of them. Okay, great. And then let's set the margins of this one upward. Margin. So let's do var --m or 0 for the top margin. So if I set --m to a negative number, when it's 30, 40, 20, 30, 20, then I get the thing. And then another snowball, C. Width on that one is what? So let's variabilize that. Var --w or 80 --w, and then we do that the same one. C --, and 200 maybe. And of course, and I don't have the right attribute. That's why it's not applying. Okay. So 2 wide, 1.8. How about, and that's still wide. And then more negative 4, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. How about 75? 75. So there it is. So those are the snowman parts. So what are our options for creating this next element and for making sure that this is clipped. So if we do the background as a linear gradient, that goes white to a stop, var 100% or 0 to transparent. So the var would be, oh, okay, so var of, and we'll call it S for stop. And then truncates. That if we give it a stop here on the third one, dash dash s, then in theory we get about, so I guess we got back to default. There it is. So if I do 6, 7, 8, 9, 95, then I get it. But does that help us here? If I do a color stop, so let's set this dash dash s to be 100% for the middle one, because the middle one we're just fine with, and then set this with the default of 40 pixels. Can we use that? 40, okay. 50, 60, okay. So now we got another problem. So does that mean that we need also a transparent part at the top? Yeah, I think so. So let's call it R. Oh, and isn't that an interesting effect? 0, okay. And then let's make this a default of 0. Okay, so right now, this is everything I want, but I would like to truncate the first part of the B element with an R value. So dash dash R, 10 pixels? Yeah, that's not bad. How about 15? There it is. Now, because our elements are all circles, which you can't see, unfortunately, we can use a conic gradient, my favorite conic gradient, which is going to be it's going to be, I think it's 15 tall, so what? And maybe it's as wide as the top, so what is that, 80 pixels? 15 pixels? So then that's at. And then if we move it down, there we go, 100. 110. There it is. So we're not done yet, not nearly. We still got eyeballs to put on. So how do we do that? And we need to default them to, we need to not do those eyeballs anywhere else. So I guess we need a variable for an eyeball. And can we steal it from over here? Dash dash E. Yeah, we'll steal this eyeball. Clump. All right, so on the body, or no, we can just put it here. And if we do bar E, comma, There's our eyeball. And if we make that the correct color, and then move it for these other things. So this sort of, the problem is that now we're making work for ourselves. So I guess okay, so can we use variables inside that? And I think maybe, because we actually need a default of white. Oh, we got problems here. Yeah, this is big problems. So let's position that. And is it too low? Yeah, it's too low too. So, okay, so what's the position? 10 pixels, 15, minus 10 pixels, minus 5 pixels. Okay, so let's just act as if we weren't getting the side effects that we are. How about minus 15? Okay. So that's what we have now. So by adding these eyeballs to the first element, we've made things a little bit worse. So what do we do to make that work? Oh, what if we change the position? So so var of dash dash a or that, and then var of dash dash a or that, and then with actually, if we do, can we just repurpose another one of these variable names? How about R? Or how about M? No, that negates the whole thing. How about S? That almost worked. That almost worked. I don't like that, though. That's kind of great. Silly as that is. Hard to optimize this for, but using the variable is definitely used. So let's call it V. And then in anything that's a secondary, B plus P, V is 0, 0, 0, or or I guess we need, like, actually 6 inches. 6 inches. No, that didn't help us. 3. Nope, that didn't help us. How about 10? That didn't help us. Ugh. That's complicated. Because, okay, so we're getting repeats here. That's why. So vertically, 50%. There it is. That's all we need. All right, let's submit this and see if we got 100% match. I'm not totally sure we do. But that is exceedingly complicated. That is 100% match, and we're going to take it. So just think of how crazy this is. This is a really crazy shape. So that's the conic gradient that gets you the look and feel. Oh, and then that's actually peeking through. So yeah. Is this good code? Not really, but it is. I do understand it, but it is exceedingly complicated. All right, let's submit that and see how that looks. And that's fine. All right. lastly, let's do this little package. I kind of like this package. All right, so what is this? Do we do it on an element? Definitely feel inclined to do the top part of the box using a conic gradient. So let's do that. Let's start there. And then the box, we'll say, looks like that. And then the conic gradient. So background is a conic gradient with orange around to white. So that's that shape. And then it's at some number. Is it 150 pixels, 20 pixels? Probably not tall enough, but we're not going to worry about that right now. So let's move it over. And then let's move it down. And we can't see it now, so let's hide that. All right. Too far down. So what is that? 90. Okay, and then let's make it taller by increasing the at vertical 30. Okay, and then 6, 7, 8, 9, 200 pixels. All right, so that's the first part of this before we've added an element. And the next part is our element. And what's in our element? So here's our element. Background. Let's do border. Let's do border top. Border top is this blue, 10 pixels, solid blue. And then we need margins on that element to move it into place. So we need top margin more, 5, 6, 100, 120, great. And then margins here to move it inward, 8, 9, 100, 102. All right, next. All right, so what's, okay, so we're too tall. So our height is what, 80? Yeah, 80, okay. So now we just gotta make, we need the box and then the dangling part of the ribbon, which definitely looks, definitely to me, looks to be conic gradient, I think. Yes? Yeah. Let's call that a yes. All right, so let's do that hard part first. We're going to call it a conic gradient. And we're going to call that, that's got a particular defined height. So it's, I think it's 30 pixels wide. Yeah, no, it's at, so it's over 100 pixels or 100 pixels. And then it's 50 pixels wide. And then it repeats not on the x-axis, but on the y-axis. So the colors are so that's the idea. So what I would like to do is have that stripe be only within where the ribbon is. So let's get that over. 1, 10, 20, 30. Okay, and then the width of that, 30. There it is. So how do we get that shape? From 100 degrees, and then it's white, some angle, and it's less than 90 degrees, let's call it 80 degrees, comma, that color. And it's from 110, 120, and I guess we need a hard edge there. Okay, so we're not there yet. At 50% in the middle, 40 pixels, 30, 34, 35. From 130, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. That doesn't seem right. That doesn't seem right at all. Oh, and this 80% is not correct at all. It needs to be like 80 degrees. Yeah, so that's a problem. So I had this problem. So my from value is way wrong. It's the from value is so 0, 90 degrees, and then not 180 degrees. So it's like 130 or something. 130, 1, 3, 4, 5, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. Oh, it's close. Okay, 29, 30, 31, 32. So for some reason, it feels like that's not working right. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so now it feels like it's working. It's just such small increments in such a small space, it's hard to see. Okay. So is that interior angle correct? It might be. And then if I add a default, that might be it. So that's a conic gradient, and you can see that. Now you can see what that's doing. And let's submit and see if we got it. So that's the third of our Christmas present-y things. I hope it's 100%. And it is, shockingly, amazingly. So we have this conic gradient that does the top of the box. We have a border top that does the top blue of the element. We have a conic gradient that's repeating only on the y-axis, so up and down. So it means it's not really repeating. So if we just do repeat, we get that, and which is the same as repeat x, because it's got a width but no height. It's got an implicit height of 100%. So these are fun and crazy. Definitely very complicated shapes that demand a lot of different techniques, and can be done many different ways. Many different ways. You could do clip paths, you could do masks, you could do border images. There's so many different ways you could do it. So let's submit the updated thingy, and that's actually a better score than I've gotten in the past. So once again, we've got the gingerbread man, the snowman, and the present from Christmas 2023, and the 2 days after Christmas. All right, thanks for watching. Definitely an exciting one. I had a little bit of worry that I wouldn't be able to finish these when I was looking at them during the time of the video, because I think I spent a lot of time on these when I first did them. Thanks for watching. Make something cool with CSS. CSS is pretty awesome, incredibly powerful, and take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.